Well, 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 the truth has finally come to light. And as Candace Owens always says, we don't know, but we know. Well, now we know for sure because the VP of Campbell's just spilled the beans. Oh, I mean the soup.
Caught up.
Yeah, for poor people. Who buys our
The voice behind the now viral rant, allegedly of VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. It's fake. It's completely fake. And he said the quiet part out loud. It's made for poor people. Then he drops the secret ingredient. Yeah, the meat is 3D printed. Oh, this is going to get good. Maybe we need to pop some popcorn. Stay with me. Now, some people say, how did you know all of this before he said it? Experience, and a lot of it as a health coach. I've watched hundreds of clients completely transform their health just by removing ultra-processed foods. So this moment, this was the validation I never wanted, but always expected. So let me break this down for you, Freedom Kitchen style. Because when executives finally start telling the truth, yeah, we need to pay attention. It's not the ingredients, it's the process. That's the line he said that should have stopped the world. And if you've been here for even 5 minutes, you already know this is my whole thing. What is similar is not the same. A tomato is not the same thing as a tomato product. Chicken is not the same thing as 3D printed chicken-like substrate. And a meal is not the same thing as something that's engineered to look like a meal. When he says process, he's talking about the reality that ultra-processed foods aren't food at all. They're industrial creations made through steps that your great-grandmother would never recognize, that may start with real ingredients, but by the time they grind them into powders, recombine them with gums, stabilizers, emulsifiers, add back flavor, and then try to replace everything that they destroyed, well, by now, it's not real food. And then they admit that they printed it through a 3D printer. Friends, this isn't cooking. That's manufacturing. And I know I have a background in manufacturing. This is why in my coaching practice, when you ditch the ultra-processed foods without changing anything else, everything starts improving. Mood, behavior, digestion, sleep, skin issues, energy levels. I've seen it all. I've experienced it myself. I've lived this and watched hundreds of clients live this transformation as well. The industry is just now saying out loud what we've been feeling in our own bodies for years. And that part that he says out loud, it's made for poor people and he wouldn't eat it himself. If the creator of a product won't feed it to their own family, that tells you everything that you need to know. And yes, didn't I tell you this about Oreos as well? I'm seeing a pattern here. This is the same pattern that the tobacco companies brought into the food industry in the 80s and 90s when they bought Kraft, Nabisco, and General Mills. They weren't designing food. They were designing behavior. They used highly palatable formulations to create craveability, predictable reactions, and shelf stability, creating lifetime customers, preferably starting in childhood. And now the next step is clear. They engineered food for economically vulnerable families. And then this 3D printed bomb. Now listen, I've been telling people for years that this exists. I know it sounded sci-fi, but here we are. What is 3D printed meat? Well, it's basically a protein slurry that's squeezed through a machine into shapes like nuggets or strips or bits or chunks. And it's mixed with binders, stabilizers, emulsifiers. It's basically a chemical concoction. And you know what's missing from that? Life. A real chicken that walked around, scratched the earth, ate bugs, absorbed sunlight. You know, how nature intended. Your body was built to process whole foods, not slurries shaped like food. Remember the lesson. What is similar is not the same. A 3D printed chicken chunk is no more chicken than maple flavored corn syrup is maple syrup. And you've heard me tell that story a dozen times. It might look similar. It might even taste similar. But biologically, your body knows the difference. And here's what I want every parent to hear. The label doesn't tell you what was done to the food. That's the part that matters most. This is why I turned health coaching into cooking classes, because I can't help a single family improve their health if no one knows how to cook real food. Kids must learn how to cook. It's not optional anymore, because the transformation we see when families remove ultra-processed foods, well, it's not magic, it's physiology. We see improved digestion, improved sleep, less cravings, less meltdowns, focus returns, brain fog lifts, and now we know why. Because the process is doing things to the food and to us. And that's not on the label. That's not taught in nutrition school, but it's absolutely felt in every home. The part that breaks my heart is the kids. Campbells and other ultra-processed foods are in millions of kitchens, and families are struggling. Groceries cost more, life costs more, parents are busy and stressed, and when you're raising kids or on a tight budget, you make the best choices with what you have. And guess who ends up eating the cheapest foods? The kids. And guess who needs the most nutrients? Also the kids. Growing children need protein, minerals, amino acids. They need healthy fats, omega-3s. They need phytonutrients, and they need these every single day because their brains and their hormones and their gut lining, their immune system, their nervous system are literally under construction. And ironically and painfully, the kids who need this the most are getting the foods that offer the least. That's not a parenting failure, but it is a system failure, and one that we all need to wake up to. The food system is designed so the cheapest foods are the most processed, not the most nutritious. So when the VP says their products were made for poor people, well, maybe that was made for all of us. Here's the tragic truth. The families who rely on the cheapest foods are the families who need nutrient-dense foods the most. And what happens when you feed developing kids industrial formulations instead of real nutrients? You get exactly what we're seeing. More behavioral challenges, focus issues like hello ADD, more meltdowns, more anxiety, what's being called picky eating, which is probably mineral deficiencies, way more chronic issues at younger ages, not because parents don't care, maybe they're ignorant to it, but because the system is selling struggling families the food that harms their kids the most. And this is why I say the cheapest foods have the highest hidden cost, and our kids are paying the price. This is why my mission shifted to teaching kids how to cook. This generation deserves better. They deserve food, not formulas. So what else can I help you understand? This channel was created for you. Whether you want cooking classes, mineral testing for your kids, or help figuring out your health, I'm here. You're going to start seeing a lot of food bloggers suddenly backtracking because there's way too many people trying to build a brand on recipes made with box mixes and canned soups at the expense of people who don't know any better. We're not doing that here. Freedom Kitchen was the result of years of coaching where I realized that the lowest common denominator to your health is swapping out your ultra-processed foods for real food. This is the roadmap. My cooking classes are the roadmap from processed food to real food. Everything that you like, you can learn to make, and I can teach you. If you want more education, more truth, and more family-friendly recipes made from scratch, subscribe and share this video with at least one parent who needs to hear this. Because the truth is out now, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.